So in 1933, this guy named Heinrich Himmler is given responsibility for figuring out where to put the protective custody prisoners in Bavaria. And he asks permission to use a munitions factory that is located there. And he starts putting people in. He receives permission on March 20th of 1933. He begins housing people on March 22nd of 1933. And this is all protective custody prisoners, which means that like prisoners that they don't want to let loose because they have some sort of issue with the state being the Nazis, and they're being held there. And within about a month, people start dying, and there's still a justice system, right? And the Bavarian justice system begins looking into it. And two men that are kind of an investigator and a mortician in the area begin trying to figure out what to do about the deaths at this munitions factory. So there's still like a rule of law in this area. There's still like an order of operations of things. And there's an investigator named Joseph Hardiger, and he has a assistant who's like a doctor, mortician sort of guy named Moritz Flamm, and they begin investigating the deaths that are happening at this munitions factory. They begin investigating the prisoner deaths, and they bring them to the local prosecutor, Wintersberger, asking him to prosecute these as murder. And they stop. The murders stop for a while. Leadership at the campus changed, and the push receives response, but also the prosecutor, Wintersberger, and Hardinger are moved to provincial roles, which means that they're demoted in such a way that they no longer have authority over the camp. Munitions factory at this point, later camp. And Flamm, the guy that was investigating the bodies directly, is killed under suspicious circumstances. And the camp, these initial 200 people, begins growing. Now, this is all in 1933 and 1934, that there's this pushback, that there's this conversation about where they're going to have the prisoners be held, and who's going to hold them, and who has authority to like investigate deaths and mistreatment in these spaces. And that's important because it's not until 1935 that Nuremberg laws even happen. So this is before all of the ethnic and religious cleansing laws that end up putting people into the concentration camps. Now, this is the camp that ends up becoming Dachau, right? 35,000 people died at this camp, but it's not initially opened as welcome to Dachau concentration camp. It's opened as we need a place to put 200 of these special kind of prisoners. We need to figure out who's going to supervise it. We need to figure out who can supervise the supervisors. And these conversations are happening 2 years before the camp becomes anywhere near a concentration camp, that we imagine it to like, that is the concentration camp, right? It's a munitions factory. It's a place we're going to hold a few people for a little while. It's a place that things are happening, but we're going to investigate them. And slowly it becomes what it was.